Good afternoon and welcome once again to our YouTube channel for Habibi's Home Medical and Habibi's Durable Medical. Today we're going to discuss something that affects a lot of people, and oddly enough we're discussing this as we begin making the transition from needle stick glucose meters to continuous glucose meter, which we will be bringing you content on in the following weeks. Today though, we're going to go back and we're actually going to redo some content that we'd done years ago that we've gotten over 60,000 views on, and that is how to set up your Prodigy Autocode talking meter. We did get a few comments that the voiceover and the audio on our last video was not as strong as it needed to be, so we're going to reshoot this. And today, rather than doing one video on how to teach a visually impaired patient how to use this and another video on just how to set up, we're going to talk about how to set up this glucose meter and tell you a couple little things that you can do to help your visually impaired patient utilize this piece of equipment to the best of their ability. So this is the box that this item comes in. Inside the box, you're going to get things like a warranty card, you're going to get a instruction manual and booklet, etc. You're going to get a large log that doesn't even fit within this. So what I like to do is when we go out and see our patients, we actually take a few minutes and help them to set up not just the settings on the meter, but to set up their bag. And this is especially helpful for our visually impaired patients, as at that point we can take and we can put their hand and say, well, here's your meter, here's your lancet injector, etc. So what we're going to start with here is, obviously the star of the show, our meter. The Prodigy Autocode meter takes regular AAA batteries. We do recommend using high quality batteries, the Max cells, the Energizers, the Duracells. The reason for that is these high energy cells that are higher quality will last you 6 to 9 months in many cases, in some cases even over a year. The ones that you get from a Dollar Tree or the bargain bin batteries, those go out in just a few weeks. So, as you may remember, your battery has a flat end and a little end with a little bump on it. Rule of thumb, every time you have a battery that goes into something that has springs on it, the springs always go against the flat end of the battery. Every occasion. So once this is in, this will automatically show you that it's on. Now, this first it steps up and says go straight to English. Of course, you can change the setting by pushing the M button on the front to Spanish, French, or even Arabic. For the sake of sanity here, we're going to leave it on English. Now to move it to the next item that you're going to change, you push the S button on the back, the setting button, and that is the level of volume. You can obviously turn it all the way to off if you would like. But I do like, for my patients that are just newly diagnosed with diabetes, I do like leaving that voice on there, because it's not just them seeing that their blood sugar is maybe out of whack, it's also hearing it and having multiple ways to train their brain that I need to treat this or deal with this. So now we're going to move it on from the volume to the date, and it is 2023, and it is 12. It is 12. Hate it when I do that. And there we go. Take it right to 12. And you can also hold this down and it more quickly moves through the days. And then we're going to set the time. And we're going to leave this in the United States on milligrams per deciliter, because that is the standard understood unit of blood sugar measurement in the state. And then we're not going to delete the memory, and it is off. So, our meter is now ready to go. Now, to use this meter, we have diabetic test strips, which are right here. We have fake blood, which is or control solution. And this is something that I wish more of my patients would use, but at the same time, I have difficulty getting them just to use it. So, and we have lancets finally. So the next step I'm going to show you is how to set up your lancet injector. Now this has two tops on it. One is clear, which adjusts the depth of the needle, how deep it goes. And the next one is you pull that off to get into it to load the lancet injector. Now, to cock the lancet injector, you can pull it back like so, or what I always recommend is while you're putting the lancet into the lancet injector, you push that down. Then I tell people to peel that off by turning the top and set that to the side. There's a reason for that, and I'll show you here in just a second. Then we're going to put the top back on. You're going to put it on the side of your finger. And the reason you inject into the side of your finger is there are less nerves on the side of your finger, so it's not going to hurt quite as bad. Now, as you remember, we just sent the lancet off, and now to get it out, you push this, it'll end up like this, and it pops it right out of there. Then we're going to take it and stick it back into the top of the lancet like so we don't have pointy little things that are running all around that can hurt our children. Okay, next up, we have the diabetic test strip. As you can see, there's a little chip-looking thing on there, and that goes right into the end of the meter, right here, like so. Your meter is on. Please wait. And next up, please apply blood into the test strip. We're going to use our calibration solution to show you how testing works. So we're going to put a little blood out onto that, and we're going to read it like so. It takes a couple seconds to do this. In the meantime, you'll see on the side of this, it says low range is from 30 to 75. So this shows us that the testing of the calibration solution is well within normal standards. Now I'm going to give you a couple tips for your visually impaired patients. I've just shown you how a normal, well-sighted patient would test their blood sugar. Now, if you're visually impaired, I'm going to show you a couple little tips and tricks. We've already showed you about the spring on the side of the battery that's flat, and now this is probably one of my bigger points out there. Getting the blood from your fingertip onto the strip. Getting it into the thing is difficult from a visually impaired, but the fortunate thing about the Prodigy Autocode meter is it has a couple of little tactile cues that allow a visually impaired patient to be able to find where the strip will go in. Next up, this is something that's a little proprietary, but it's something I learned from a patient with Parkinson's. He said if you take your meter, you put your finger on the side of the strip here, and after you've stuck your finger, you slide that meter along the edge of a straight table, desk, etc. You're sliding it exactly, and then you just roll your finger onto the strip, and you get your blood there. And I told him that was one of the most genius things I'd ever heard. And he says, well, you know, he was an ex-engineer, and he says, the interesting thing is since I got Parkinson's, I can't control my X, my Y, or my Z. And so by sliding it along the table, all I got to do is move it along that one axis, and I can hit my finger each time. So this is our talking glucose meter. We do a lot of these. We will be moving on and in the next few weeks, give you an example of how to use a continuous glucose meter. We are doing the Freestyle Libre 2 and Libre 3. But we do want to show you that, and we hope that there's anything in here that you've seen that you'll give us a message, comment below, and please subscribe. We'd love you to subscribe to our channel. We will be putting more of these videos out on LinkedIn, and as I stated at the very beginning about putting this kit together, as you can see now, when I'm about to leave my patient's home, I can put their hand right here on the meter and say, there's your meter. There's your lancet injector. There's your test strips, and there's your lancets. And I keep all the lancets in the little bag so that they've got them all together in one spot, and it makes it easier for my visually impaired patient to utilize this testing equipment. But we do want to thank you again for tuning in. Please fill us in on any comments you might have on this or anything that you think we need to change. Or if there's a particular piece of medical equipment that you would like to see, comment, give us a call. Or if you just want to purchase items from our website, go to gohhm.com. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful afternoon. Merry Christmas.